Oh, yes. No, it's not Santa Claus. I realized I sounded a little like Santa Claus as I came in there. No, it's Michael J. Nelson. And this is Audio Mullet. I think I've been told this is a podcast that I was on.
Yes.
I don't know that that's true, but I am here with my good pals.
We claim you hard. We claim you hard for clicks, not for your innate talent.
How's that working out for you? Getting rich on that? Is that working? Is that working well?
I'm curious what the percentage of listeners that come in for the Mike, they see the Mike Nelson name and they go, oh.
Look, guys, it's like, when you go to the bacon shelf and you're like farmland bacon is clearly the one, it's like $1 less, but you're like, it's probably good. I'm a step below farmland bacon. I'm not Oscar Mayer. I'm not going to get you much. But anyway, Doug Tenaple is here. Doug, how are you?
That's right. I'm here. But you are thick cut bacon if you are bacon.
Thank you,
thick
my friend.
Nice pepper.
No,
maple flavor. I don't know.
I didn't think you could tell by the cut of these trousers, but that's true. Yeah. I am thick cut.
All fame is relative, because like you'd have a line around your booth, but like if Tom Hanks walked by, he'd be like a magnet dredged through the sand and all your line would just run over to him.
Oh, there's no question. I mean, there are other stars, I've always said, who could kill me in Times Square and get away with it, not even be charged with the murder.
And then here I'm King Famous, and then Ethan puts out Axe Cop. And he's in the booth next to me at Comic-Con, and his line is stretching so far, it is right in front of my freaking table, and I can't sell a book to these.
Right.
That was when you gave me the boot that year.
I said, what the heck, Ethan? I can't sell a book because you're too popular.
That was the 1 year I was
nothing
popular.
Personal.
And then after that,
1 year.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Now it's back to everyone abandoned him and they're back to lining up around my booth. Until Mike Nelson walks by, then all my line would run over to him.
That is not true at all. But Ethan, you explain what this podcast is, because apparently I don't know. I'm not part of it. I don't know what it is.
We almost never do anymore. Well, the concept of the mullet is that it's a super cool hairdo that's not in fashion anymore, but it's eternally cool. So we talk about concepts and ideas that are eternally cool, even if they're out of fashion. Because true is true. True is true, whether or not it's in fashion.
Wait, is that even
is empirical?
Is a mullet still cool? Like if you I think I would be shot like a zombie by the cops if I walked through the streets today. At least Minneapolis is in lockdown. But if I had the mullet on, do you think they would just like hesitate? Yeah. The trigger would not. He'd be like, I don't know, man. This pretty cool guy.
They give you predator high fives.
Yes, let's give him a pass. I let him walk on and buy his thick cut bacon because he's got a mullet. Any
guy with a mullet, they just go, there's something wrong with that guy. It's just advertising. There's something wrong with you.
So what's on the docket today? I know I introduce things, but I actually don't know what's happening, which is, that's true of my entire life.
We've been going very, we just kind of talk for a bit. See where it goes.
We've been going commando.
We got people have been sending us questions, audio ones, so it's nice we actually hear their voice.
Oh, nice!
And it's cool because we can hear that. Like so far, the people that have left us messages they're really normal, smart sounding people. I'm always
you never know non-Comic-Con-y.
Yeah, you never know who you're catching or who you're reaching.
That is very encouraging because I always assume that. There's a lunatic on the other side, but it's good to know.
Yeah, we still haven't gotten to today's recording, so we could still have some hope. There could be like, in episode 33, guys.
Do you know that if you ingest enough gold, it actually gives you the power to control other people's minds? I know you guys know that. Go ahead and give a talk about that.
Is it immoral to have 800 severed Barbie heads in my basement?
I hope that's not true because...
It's technically not immoral, I'd say. I don't know. That's a tough one.
There you go. Okay.
That's a good one. We have one down. I don't think it is. There we go.
Goodness. I feel normal.
Depends on the usage, I guess. I don't know.
How X'd out are their eyes and how charred is their hair? That's what.
How many bite marks are on their faces? Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, it's the details. It's the details.
Detail. Maybe
That's
you're
what
like
Christianity is always about. Like there's principles and then there's details.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I only come up with that as the sexual deviant bizarre guy all the time because I remember an article once, I think it was in the late 80s, of a guy who, when they x-rayed him, they found it was like 80 Barbie doll heads all knotted together in his colon.
Wow. So there was a rat king of Barbie doll heads in his colon.
Yeah. I don't know, but I'll never forget it. It's been burned in my head.
I remember in college, I was in a psychology class, and we had to get to the abnormal psychology, and it was a guy who
they love the.
Is that even allowed? A term that's allowed anymore?
No, I'm sure not. This is years ago, and there was a guy who bought a barn secretly. His wife did not know about it, and he filled it almost to the silo with rubber boots, and he would go into the pile of tons and tons and tons of rubber boots and do what people do in piles of rubber boots. And the guy was like, that is abnormal. But now you're right. Today people would go, what's the deal, man?
Yeah.
He's doing what he wants.
Number 57.
Tweet his own.
Boot thing.
But I sat there as a little 18-year-old going, what? There's people that do that? And now we have the internet. We go, well, of course, there's like Reddit threads that go on.
The whole website.
Yes.
Many of them. You guys want to hear this? I don't know if I should read this whole thing or not. Well, I'll start reading it and you can tell me if I should stop. But it's well written.
Just read it till you get to some meat.
We got this very detailed review. And I think the title it cuts off because it's kind of a long title. It says Dennis Prager, Tim Burton, and Matt Groening, I think is what they say. And I don't know who is who.
Oh, okay. All right.
As a Christian working in the visual arts and a guy who appreciates thoughtful dialogue, I love the show. I enjoy the humor and the candor of the conversations and the genuine effort to cover new ground with each show. These guys clearly love and respect each other and trust each other with deep probing questions about life, art, and faith, and their capacity to sling a precisely honest, hyperbolic description of virtually any bodily function is admirable. As a trained theologian, I find myself both nodding and wincing during each episode. A trained theologian.
Well, at the end, he tells you this is about the Cosbys. This isn't even about Audio Mullet.
Yeah, I nod because these guys are doing the rare work of workplace theology, applying personal beliefs about God and dimensions of their faith, experiences to real world issues in their given fields in the visual arts. They apply the same conviction to issues of personal life, family, and community. Also a refreshing and oddly surprising source of content for a podcast, considering its relevance to day-to-day life. I'm gonna jump ahead here. Now for the winces.
All right, here, give us the big however.
He talks.
These are all going to be about me. I already know.
He's pushing the glasses up. Here we go.
This is however, Doug.
And I'm fine. This is good. All right.
Doug tends to get out ahead of himself and appears in some cases to have an aversion to respectful engagement with ideas that aren't his own. He tends to lean heavily on the use of bulverism to make his points. Do you guys know what bulverism is?
Bulverism, isn't that it's that English powdered beef that they used to drink during World War II? All right.
Okay.
That's wrong. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I do rely on that a lot, that English powdered beef.
Often assumes his fairly myopic hermeneutic as a foregone conclusion in issues of race, creation, care, Reformed theology, and politics, for example.
Doug, you do have a myopic hermeneutic.
Yeah, guilty. Fine. True. That doesn't mean I'm wrong. That just means I have it.
No, that's true. Yep.
He waxes as if he is a free-thinking, rational mind while remaining predictably right-wing, more specifically Pragerite, and rarely supporting a conviction without the use of insult and sloppy caricatures of his opponents.
True.
And then here comes me. He is the alpha of the pack, with Ethan being the more passive beta. True.
That's not true.
Oh, no. You get called a beta?
I know. They call me a beta.
When Ethan is the alpha male, you dummy.
And Mike being the mythical Chupacabra, only making the occasional visit to bring balance to the force with a dry wit and self-assuredness as a median sensitivity between Doug's unresolved teenage angst and Ethan's passive kindness.
Did he call me Chupacabra?
Any insults at all, Mike?
Yeah, look at him blowing
This
you.
guy came in as a pure Mystery Science Theater fan.
No,
Yeah,
no.
exactly.
He called me
Kissing your butt.
Chupacabra, the goat sucker, which
The goat
I
sucker,
admit.
yeah.
I admit, I have done that
I'd
on
rather be
occasion.
goat sucker than beta.
Oh, that gives me great joy.
Let's see, where'd I go? Oh, that said, I like Doug.
See, Comic-Con. That's Comic-Con right there.
I like Doug, and in some strange twist of irony, he is humble, honest about his own hubris of pride and arrogance, and even when I disagree strongly with him, he makes me laugh and feel like I'm genuinely getting to know a beautifully unique person through this show. Ethan's calm and quirky humor and his penchant for good questions. I like that. That makes you feel good. Make for great listening as well. Each of these, he doesn't mention Mike because I guess he hasn't heard much of Mike. Each of these guys do amazing work.
Or Mike doesn't have a penchant for good questions.
I'll take that.
But he
that's
says
true.
thank you. He gave us 4 stars. It was a very detailed, probably the longest review I've ever seen. But
That's fantastic.
great.
I love it. I love every sentence of it. That's awesome.
That is an audience member doing his job.
yeah.
Unlike the rest of you.
What amazes me is that that our show inspired him to write that much stuff. Like I'm just really amazed by that.
right.
Now this is meaty content. I told the beloved Miss Tenaple in the kitchen. I'm going to go record one with the guys. She said, "Oh yeah." I go, "But Mike's going to show up." She goes, "Yeah." And I go, "You realize like this is episode 45." She goes, "Really?" She had no idea we've done 45 of these. I'm like, "Yeah, you should look into it. It's kind of a meaty show." She had no interest.
My wife didn't like it. She tried listening to it. She hated it. And she likes Babylon B, but she hates this one.
She hates our podcast.
Yeah. Or not
What
hates,
is her?
but she's not
what's
into it. I
her
don't know.
objection?
Her
I think
fear
we
is
just
that Mike's
talked
going to show
about
up.
stuff that she's not interested in or something. I don't know. Just masculine, too masculine stuff. I think she listened to the one where we talked about toxic masculinity or something. And she didn't know anything about that Gillette commercial. She just didn't know what we were talking about.
You know, I'm sure you guys have heard that a lot where it's always weird where you're putting yourself out there as like, yep, I do this comedy or I do this or here's my show. And people go, yeah, I listened to that. I didn't like it at all. And they look at you like they expect to crush your soul. And I just go,
Yeah.
I think that's pretty normal that most people don't like my stuff. Otherwise, I'd be the most famous person in the world. So I don't really have a problem with that.
In a segmented audience like this, where everyone just gets to, you can go and find a channel about anything, knife throwing channel or Scientology channel. I would think we're always going to get a pretty narrow pie slice of very specific people that were destined to love this show.
I think that if you are Brad Pitt, you walk around the world thinking, everybody loves me. Everybody knows who I am. And then when you encounter someone on those rare occasions where like a real human is allowed to talk to him and they go like, yeah, not a big fan of Brad Pitt. He's probably crushed. Like how could that's not possible? I'm Brad Pitt. But for us, somebody saying, yeah, I'm not into your stuff. It's like, yeah, that is 99% of the world. So I'm not really hurt by it.
I'm such an asshole. I'm shocked when anyone likes me. They're like, oh, I love your work. I'm like, wow. Shocking.
I just never consider
that was a
myself
great review.
Yeah, it was great. I was just saying I never consider myself somebody who's good at talking or even like communicating with people at all. I'm always the quiet guy in the room. So the fact that I'm like doing podcasts is like an accomplishment for me.
Yeah. Or being coherent or talented.
Coherent.
Or funny or talented. Yeah.
Everything.
Or being a great musician.
Yeah.
Doug, now you're just feeding it again into that guy's review. So good job.
Yeah, I'm just going to grind it in to the beta.
Yep.
Grind it into the beta.
That's the first time anyone's ever remotely thought of me as an alpha male. I'm just going to wallow in this for a second. Those words fell out of his mouth. My penis is so small.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, dear.
Okay.
This is why I don't have us in the Christian section of iTunes.
It's Christian / boring. You missed the full title.
All right. What else we got?
So you guys want to do questions? We got a couple questions.
Sure. Yeah. Bring them on.
All right. This is
Wait, unless we haven't done a catch up though. What's going on this week, Mike? You were going to play tennis and it rained.
Yeah, we are under the lockdown here. I promised my wife and myself that I would not talk about my reactions to that we're just stuck with it, and there it is. And I hope that everyone is doing well. I know that is the most boring thing that I could say, but I did play tennis with a guy yesterday, and his wife said, hey, if you play with that guy, make sure you bring something to wipe down everything on your car. And he was very upfront about it. I've played this guy a lot, and he said, look, it's my wife. I said, I'm not going to say his name. I said, look, I got wipes in the car. I'll open up the package. You pull out your own wipe, and then you like wipe down everything that I've touched. And he's like, okay, I think that'll make her very happy. So I stood by him as he got into his car to drive back to his house, and I helped him wipe down the surfaces with Clorox wipes. And I was like, hey, thanks for playing tennis with me. You grabbed the balls that I, had held in my hand 500 times, but good luck with everything.
That is police state. We're so compliant. My neighborhood rebelled yesterday. We had a cul-de-sac happy hour where the cul-de-sac, everyone came out in our chairs. And everyone did, like the police state said, we did bump elbows instead of shaking hands, even though you cough into your own arm, which is right by the elbow. And then you touch each other's elbow. And we sat in our lawn chairs and we drank together. I'd say there's about 15 of us. It was really fun. Nice. Really humane and just a blast.
Oh, nice. Good. I was happy to hear that story. Good. So there are good things going on.
Yeah. Oh, I think the coronavirus is curing us of everything that's wrong with us. I think it's the cure. It's not a virus. Families are getting together. We're cooking together. We're living together. Feminists are cooking.
College is over. From work. College is dead. That's a great thing.
Kids aren't in the police state schools. They're at home learning. I suspect that SAT scores will spike this year because they're out of public schools. People are getting smarter, loving each other more, getting closer.
I like your positive spin. Ethan, what do you think? Better? What's your report on your family? First of all, health. I assume everything is...
If they could just open the cigar shops back up, I'd be happy.
I know. See?
They got nowhere to go. We're still going to our office, though.
But you have your own personal man cave right?
It's true, but my man cave is right next door to the playroom, and it's the yard the kids playing is right outside the windows. Right now I'm getting away with it, but it's always amazing to me when I do manage to hide here, and I'm not really hiding,
Yeah,
hiding in plain sight. The cigar shop is a true hiding place. No one will come. No one will show up there.
When they came for the cigar shop, I said nothing.
Yeah, we're still going to the office. It's a private office, and there's 3 of us. But we did have that. We wanted to all work on. Every week we do podcast prep, so we'll sit there and brainstorm jokes and stuff for the podcast that week. So this week we did it at my place. We were going to do it at my place with cigars, and my wife was like really uncomfortable with that because of the coronavirus stuff. Like, I saw these guys yesterday. I almost interacting with them more than I do my family. I'm almost the exact same amount. And anyway, after much back and forth, we agreed on they could come into the open garage, but they couldn't come to the man cave. So the wives are very much more careful than we are, I guess. We would be sharing beers. I don't know.
I want the coronavirus. I want those immunities. The best way to fight it as a public is to get the population immunities working. Your body is the best antivirus there is. You just can't have them all get it at once.
This is from the guy who does not wash his hands.
Fact.
Which I'm not, look, I'll let others argue about that. But there is some sense to, right, burning the virus out in terms of... I'm not an epidemiologist.
Well, oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, but that is some epidemiologists have said that, like, you just you're all going to get it anyway. And so some
are saying we've all already had it.
Yes, that is like, I kind of
my understanding is we're all going to get it.
I think they're saying you can carry it without symptoms, and I think it's already gone through us.
It's like the common cold.
This is all placebo. All your wash your hands. As if, what a placebo.
so tired of
wash
talking
your
about
hands,
it.
garbage, and isolate stuff. The way that you stop the community from getting its immunities and saving people's lives forever is you isolate them, and that's what they're having us do.
And I would now make the disclaimer that this is not a health and safety podcast. However, we are human beings who have freedoms and the ability to say what we want. So,
however, everything I've said is truer than anything you've been told.
I actually am more towards your side than the other, but I'm making that disclaimer.
I've been smoking a lot of cigars and eating a lot of Carolina Reaper hot sauce, so I think that would burn out any virus.
Oof, I believe it. I was on a podcast with a guy on one of my other ones where he was in Hong Kong, and he's a not an epidemiologist. What do they call it? It's about populations and movement and something. Anyway, that's his specialty. And I said, I made a joke. I mean, a light joke, but I said, hey, if I'm like Clement VI during the plague, could I just sit near a roaring fire and I'll never get this? And he, flat face, just goes, no, that's not going to help you. I was actually making a joke about sitting in my robes with my ring on and a giant hat. And he's like just staring at me as though it's a serious epidemiological question. It made me laugh. He's just like, I don't think so. I will look into it. Like, no, please.
Yeah, it's funny how serious people are. I posted a really stupid tweet saying, I did the math on if you bought everybody in America a $700 hazmat suit, and it ended up being like 1/8 of what they're going to spend on this bill, the stimulus package. So, like, save money, buy every single person a nice hazmat suit, and we're back to work.
Right.
The amount of people that like took me on seriously on that, and we're like, how are we going to produce 330 million hazmat suits? And like going on and on. I'm like, all right.
So you've got the special joy of getting your jokes fact checked every time you post them. One of the great joys of life.
Yeah.
Yeah, I made a little joke just saying everyone who dies of coronavirus probably had it coming and probably deserved it. Everyone's like jumping on
God's
me.
wrath.
Like I'm the devil or something. I'm like, hey, get a sense of humor.
Isn't that Pat Robertson's usually?
Hey, Jerry Falwell, Pat Robertson. Who said that? I don't know.
I thought they were all dead. Falwell
is that God's, when Pat Robertson dies, is that God's judgment? God's judgment.
Is he still alive? I honestly don't.
Yes, Pat Robertson is. Falwell's not.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. Oh, Falwell. Right. Yeah. There's Falwell Jr. now.
So Robertson's still saying just incredibly dumb things. God's judgment on America. It's like a slightly blander version of the Phelps family. You know, when they would all yell about the soldiers coming back from war and say it was because of gays, you know, in America, that's why they died. But like Pat Robertson, it's still circumstantial Christianity. Mm-hmm. Where he just goes like, and this judgment on us is because of, and they pick their favorite political thing they're against.
I like it. I'm going to do that.
Yeah. Work that into your routine, Mike.
Yeah.
The people really crack up at that stuff.
That is good humor. Yeah. All right. Good. Now I got a new line of humor.
All right. You guys ready to answer some questions?
Yeah, lightning round. Let's go.
Okay, this is Alex Heights. I think that's how you say his name. Looks like Hates.
Oh, I love that guy. He's a musician.
Yeah, he's always talking to us on Twitter. So here we go. I'll just play it.
Hey, Doug. Hey, Ethan. It's Alex Heights. Firstly, there's a guy. His name is Mike Nelson. He was on Mystery Science Theater, and he does riff tracks now. I think he'd be a great addition to your podcast. I think he'd fit well with the chemistry. You should see if you can get him on sometime. That'd be pretty cool. I figured I'd just restate one of my topics I sent in through an email, but I'll just do it in this audio form. So as a fellow artist, I find promoting my work to be really tricky. And I admire Doug's boldness and borderline blue-collar attitude towards how he markets his art. He treats his work as though they're like freshly built houses, and he's fully confident in the integrity and the beauty of the structure. And while I'm all in on that mindset, and I don't release anything until it reaches my quality threshold, I feel like there's a mental hurdle that I find difficult to get over. Like when it comes to my art, I feel like I'm promoting myself rather than a product. And when I point someone to my work, it feels like I'm asking more for approval of my character than for a thing I've made, which in reality is just as detached from me as like a physical house would be. So if you guys have any tips in getting over this kind of timid nature in promoting one's art, that'd be cool. And lastly, I think a lot of your audience would greatly benefit from a comprehensive tobacco episode, pipe smoking, cigar smoking, how-to episode, all the details of how to have a good experience. Because if there's one thing in my life that is almost as important as bringing people into a loving relationship with Jesus, it's bringing people into a loving relationship with tobacco. So I'm all down for that. I've actually been wanting to make a big comprehensive guide video for my YouTube channel, but we'll see who does it first. Okay, guys. All right. Anyway, see you guys later. God bless. Hope you're all doing well, and I'll talk to you later.
And there you go.
Oh, wow. I love it.
Yeah, me too.
So much better when you hear
Correct
him.
question. We'll move on. Correct question. Correct.
No, I think that's actually a very interesting question, and I've had issues with that always. And one of the things that cured me of promotion and self-promotion, because one of the things that Midwesterners do is they don't promote at all, and like shrugging off any kind of, like humility is number one, and but it's a weird kind of twist on that, but. I've thought of it because, I don't know, I'm going to go back to the Replacements. You guys know the Replacements, right? Maybe not to Ethan. You don't know. The band. They
remind me of the song.
Great band. But they self-destructed because they had this Minnesota attitude about self-promotion. Like, if people think we're great, then we must suck, is kind of the thing. And I've always had that feeling too. And then years ago, I did some work for Legend of Promoting, which was a film company that was selling other films. And I just had to promote their stuff, just do some writing and I just pretended it was, like I'm just promoting it like I'm doing circus promotion here. This is the greatest thing that's ever been seen by any human being. And then I realized you could do that for yourself if you detach from yourself and just say, look, your own self-belief about your own work is that I did the best I could and I abandon it. But then you just put on another hat and go, now I'm a promotion guy. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that, because you're competing against other people doing the same thing. So you're in the same place. So that would be my answer to that. Doug?
Yeah, I'm similar to the Replacements in that I really have no problem separating art from commerce, and they're two different things. So art, and this might be some of Alex's problem with promoting his work, is that art is sacred to you while you make it, because it's very intimate. You're alone. It's beautiful, and you're trying to be honest and tell the truth. And then suddenly you have to go into the world of, I have to tell people about this, and I have to sell it if I'm going to make a living off of it. And that's a completely different discipline than being good at art. Being good at sales is a different thing. So I'm only saying that when I'm the pure artist and I don't carry that over into the salesmanship, not as many people know about it. I make less money at it, and it's a lot harder to be a mass media artist. My private stuff that I do in my own sketchbooks that is not for the public, I can still be as pure and as quiet about that as I want. But there's nothing wrong with going to the public and just going down, say, a 3 bullet point list of the strengths of what you do and why there's monetary value to it. You have to spell it out for them, being honest and just being clear. And then you just this is the sales thing where you make they call it the call to action, or the close the deal or whatever. Here's where you can get it, back it now kind of thing is what I do for my Indiegogo campaigns. And it's the same thing when I pitch Hollywood there's other techniques involved in pitching, which I think you guys both know this because you've both done so much pitching, is If they smell doubt in you about your own idea, it's poison. It's like, why are you here? And and enthusiasm is contagious. This is a big thing in sales also, that if you don't believe in it, why are you asking them to put millions of dollars into a show or a line or a book or whatever and promote it? If even you have to be the first cheerleader of your own work, or don't bring it in. That's kind of the way I see it. And getting into crowdfunding, I've been much more blatant about my salesmanship. Just really, this is it, and a little more crass about it, because I'm selling this thing on Twitter and crowdfunding, and I just find it hard for people even to know about it. My great work, this is my life work. It's like I can't even get people even to know about it. And that's been a difficult thing for me to do, but I picked up the salesmanship quick, mostly out of self-preservation. And because I love being creative and getting paid to do it so much, I care enough to step up my salesman game.
Yeah. Ethan, what do you do? How do you deal with because you probably have a little bit of a harder time at that, of being like, look at my great stuff. Yeah. So how do you deal with that?
Well, it's interesting making the comparison to a house that he makes, because a house or any kind of solid object that you make, it kind of stands on its own merit. Like, you can tell if a house is solid, or, just by looking at it, or, walk around in it and you're like, oh yeah, I mean, there may be internal stuff, but like, it's not subjective like art or jokes or writing. And when you put that stuff out there, you really are kind of putting out a part of yourself. And there's a very insecure stage of making art. I don't know, Doug, if you were always this confident, or if it was after you started getting TV shows and movie deals, because those are very, very validating. And
I've always been this confident. Okay. I pitched Earthworm Jim before it was a thing. Like, I knew it was the best thing since sliced bread, or could be, with some help.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's just beta guys like me, but. So when I
don't take that tag, shrug that off. Shrug that off.
It's a crushing lack of self-confidence in every every artist that you have to get over.
Yeah, you're afraid to promote it until somebody else says it's good. Like, you need someone else to like tell you it's good, and it's hard for me to like, even my latest book, my children's book. I've never written like a children's novel like I just did, and. Until the book went out and people were actually sending me their kids' responses and stuff, like, I had no idea if it was actually good. But, right. If I'm really honest with myself, I know it. Well, like, I love the book. I'm very passionate about it, and there's a reason I worked so hard writing it. So I don't know. I do think that there is a level to where you just kind of have to believe in your work. But I'm probably the worst. I'm horrible at it.
Well, I don't know.
But better on this than most of your projects. So Ollie, so you're getting there. But it is, I think it is.
Bears Want to Kill You, it's built into doing a Kickstarter, but that's the first time I've self-promoted anything as much as that, and it's my success. It's probably my most successful just independent thing. I get emails constantly about people wanting more of that book, and I'm working on a second printing now because they were sold out. But yeah, so. It does pay off.
I think there are times I have done when I've been writing comedy, and you're always, we all know that part of it is just you are just a laborer. When we talk about like art or whatever, I never consider my work art. I'm just doing some weird, reflection of pop culture and trying to make commentary on it, and doing this through this, weird idea of making people laugh. But there are times where I've risen to that, where I write a joke and I just go, man, that's just funny. And I'm not saying that it's me. I just go, I'm delighted by the fact that I can't wait till people hear it in this context, because I think it will make everyone laugh. Mm-hmm. And the times that I've thought that, and I honestly, there's no way to convey this to people who are listening. They'll probably say, no, you're not being honest. Like, it just makes me happy that other people will be happy. It's not that like, I came up with this thing. Because we had a thing in the Mystery Science writing room. You never say who wrote a joke, because it's such a weird, who wrote that one? I laughed at that. Like, it comes out of the writing room.
That was me.
We're all writers. And I still have that thing, like we're all just, doing this craft. And if you happen to stumble upon something, which is what I always thought, you stumble upon this thing, or you get an inspiration that makes something that will make people happy. And you kind of go like, oh, that's pretty great. Like I discovered this and I get to show it to other people. That's my thing about when I, and that's, 1 in 7,000 jokes. The rest of them are just like slogging in the diamond mines going, I hope I can find something. Yeah. So, that's how I look at it is, I did something that I found something, not that I created or, made it because it already existed in God's earth. I just sort of, found it.
Yeah.
Mike, something I've been wondering about is what about false negatives and false positives? So like, have you ever told a joke that you knew was good, but nobody laughed?
Oh, for sure. Oh, yeah, of course.
That's just being a dad.
Yes. Yeah. But I'm saying, can the audience be wrong in mass media? Because they can be wrong with a false positive, where if you just go blue, they'll laugh more. If you just tell a bunch of bodily function, porno jokes, they'll just laugh more.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing that we fight with all the time, is that you kind of, somebody, again, I think it's the tennis guy yesterday who wouldn't take the hand wipe out of the thing with me handing it to him. He had to pull in the thing himself. He said, so what are you doing during this time? I said, I'm still working. We're still doing this stuff. He's like, why don't you just switch over to 100% Trump jokes? I was just like, well, it's not really what I do. It's not, I guess you could just go into that fire hose of stuff, but, we're trying to do something a little different. And, he didn't really understand. It's not his job to understand. I don't care. I just like, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. You do what you think is funny. And what was it? The French filmmaker, make the stuff that you like, and then at least one person will like it. I know that's a cliche, but it is kind of true on some level.
Yeah, totally.
You got to use your own humor and your own aesthetic. Otherwise, when you try to distort it, it always feels so weird and false. I hate that when I've ever tried it.
Yeah. Ethan, what if everyone hated Axe Cop? The exact same comic that you made, but everyone hated it.
I actually expected that because I created Axe Cop. I did the first page completely for my family. It was just an inside joke. And we were all dying laughing like that page. Like everybody were actually tears in our eyes. And I had been through this, this is after I'd moved to California and was really trying to write I call it my next book, but it was really my first. It was after Chumble Spuzz. So it was like I was trying to write my first real graphic novel. I'd been working on a bunch of ideas and hitting my head against the wall. So when I went on that trip to write Axe Cop, or when Axe Cop got created, I was kind of swearing off I just wanted a break. I was so tired of trying to come up with my, because I'd moved to Hollywood. I wanted to create my big thing that would, put me on the map. So I kind of swore off drawing that for that trip. But then Malachi kept saying Axe Cop, and I decided I wanted to do something like I used to do in study hall, where I'd make a comic, goof off, and then I'd hand it to my friends who would walk into the next period of study hall to read whatever I did. And it was just fun, sloppy, stupid comic, one page. And so that's what that was. It was kind of like something to pass around the family, make them laugh. So I had so much fun doing it. I did, I think I did 4 or 5 of them while I was there for that trip. It was just a fun thing to do at night. We'd play during the day. I'd write it all down, make a comic at night. And we were laughing so hard, like painful tears squirting out laughing. But I swore that this is an inside joke. My brother, it's our brother, my little brother, my parents' son. And that's why it's funny to us, because Malachi said it, and we love Malachi and think he's hilarious. So it wasn't until and the real reason we hosted the Axe Cop site was for practice, because we wanted to release Bearmageddon. So I had never put a webcomic up before. So it was honestly the reason we put it up was to share with friends and family. And I thought I'd make a few a year. I didn't think I was going to be making books of them. And, I guess that kind of plays into what Mike said, is that when you're being genuine, it comes through. And I was shocked. I was really shocked that it was universal the way it was received. because I thought it was an inside joke, and I thought most people would kind of go, "Oh, cute, he's drawing with a little brother," like just kind of like people show pictures of their kids to you. That's nice. They're nice about it, but they're not going to it's not going to. You're going to post a picture of your kid and it's going to go viral.
But it still sounds like we're all trying things, and you don't know what will hit. You may think it should hit, but you still got to find out.
Yeah.
And so overcoming a fear of failure I think is really important for any performer.
Totally.
You have to because you won't put it out there to find out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of my first. Did you guys? Well, Doug, you never had any fear at all of failure.
No, none at all. Screw all of you.
I think that I said to. Honestly, I remember I was living in this terrible. What they used to call a garden level apartment, which means you're in a basement but you have windows that go kind of halfway up. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And my roommates, they just did not understand what I was doing. And I said, I'm writing stuff. I'm writing comedy. I'm going up on open stages. And they're like, yeah, how's that going? I was like, what do you mean, how's it going? I'm on open stages. There's no money. And I said something because one guy just kind of pissed me off. And I said, in 2 years, I'm going to be on a show. I'm going to be on a TV show. And there was something about that I just, okay, now I got to show him. And it's a weird thing to say, but it ended up being true, is that I was on a show 2 years later. I never saw the guy again, but it was just like,
so you couldn't say I told you so.
Yeah, I never had the moment of like, ha, ha, ha.
I wrote that joke. That joke.
I never had the giant, cigar in my mouth sitting in front of him in a movie theater going, ha, ha, ha. Yeah. I never got that moment.
I also think it's really funny to fail. Like, my favorite form of humor is self-deprecating humor. There's nothing funnier.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Than putting on a puppet show or telling a joke or putting out a book that you spent a year on and having all the confidence in the world that it's going to be great, and then it just dies. Like, to me, it's a terrible waste of time, but it's incredibly normal when you think of life.
And how many books are out there. And you kind
of got to laugh at that too and just go, you know what? This isn't a formula. No one owes you this. You got to earn every one. The audience, by the way, can be incredibly stupid and wrong. But you also can be stupid and wrong. Mm-hmm. I think it's funny.
Yeah, nothing is objectively great until the audience embraces it. But there's a bunch of stuff out there that, is there a book that I wrote that did, mediocre or something years ago that 50 years from now people go, this is pretty good. Like, will it get upgraded slightly? Like, who cares? I mean, you do the stuff that you do on a day-to-day basis. The bread maker who makes the greatest bread in the world makes his bread every single day, and he doesn't worry about, why did you make your bread this way on this day? Because I only had this kind of water and I did this, it's the same with all of us. We do what we can, and then we hope for the best on any given day. And, some days you have a stomach flu and you write a bad line. Like, give me a break,
And my favorite story along these lines is that Moby Dick's first 5,000 books printed did not sell out in Melville's lifetime.
Oh, right.
He died thinking it was largely a failure, and now it's heralded as the greatest book ever written. So what if he died? What if he waited to find out what everyone thought and then concluded, this is terrible, I probably shouldn't even publish it, because he was so far out of his creating something amazing that even he didn't think it would stick or whatever. He just knew he was going to make something the best he could. Mm-hmm. But what if he didn't even publish it, going, this is going to be a waste of everyone's time? Would he have been wrong to have made it?
Yeah, that's a tough one. The only artist that that I know of, Beethoven, was aware of his own greatness at the time. And he used to teach for a short time. He had a period where he taught, I think it was in Bonn. I may be wrong. People don't yell at me. I don't know. But he taught the
yell at him.
Pathetique sonata that he wrote, which if you look up the Pathetique, you'll immediately recognize it. And it's
Never heard of it.
It's jarring for its time. But and someone said, why are you why in the world are you teaching this to new students? And he said, oh, don't worry about it. It's not for this generation. It's for the next. Like he
The
was,
pathetique.
and I mean, that may be apocryphal or whatever, but that's, that was his attitude, I think, during his whole life he was just an arrogant dick, but he knew that, that he was Beethoven. And I don't know if
kind of onto something.
Well, I don't know if in his private moments he knew that. That's the thing. Like, can you really know that? Is it all built on after the fact? Is it all accretions of history? That's what's hard to say. Did Beethoven, while he was sleeping at night, go, oh my God, the Ninth Symphony is terrible. It's just a joke.
He had a pile of NWA hip hop, atonal rap music, and he just goes, I probably shouldn't roll this one out. It's just, people aren't ready for this amazing thing.
Yeah. So I don't know. Who knows? That's once you're Beethoven, you get those legends written about you. But otherwise, he was probably like everyone else going, I don't know. Is Eroica good or is it bad? We'll see.
Do you like it? Do you like me now?
Yeah,
Am I important?
Right.
What about tobacco handling, Ethan?
Tobacco handling. Well, I think he was suggesting we do a whole show about it, but because we asked for opinions on if people would want us to do an episode that's like a guide to tobacco, so we could decide if
Well,
we
then
want.
just give him a quick overview. Give him a taste.
We've done some of this, but I know Alex is into cigars. He'll send me new cigars he's trying on Twitter. So I don't know.
Wait, you're getting cigars from this Alex?
Well, he sends me pictures of his whatever he's trying. He sends me a picture and a review.
All right.
Maybe we should all circulate our P.O. box to get some of those juicy free cigars.
Sweet cigars.
We got to reach a level where cigar manufacturers will send us, then we'll review them on our podcast.
How big do you have to? Because I think,
Colombian
did I mention
accent.
on this podcast I had Lagavulin from the, what's the guy, Ron?
Is that Nick Offerman's
Nick
Scotch?
Offerman's
Yeah.
Scotch, Lagavulin. Yeah. How big do we have to get one of those kind of sweet deals?
Yeah. Oh,
Probably bigger than we are now.
Ethan knows Offerman. Why don't you have him send us?
Yeah.
I know. Yeah, I don't know. He hasn't replied the last couple of times I've reached out to him, so
He's
I don't know what
ghosting
happened. He
you.
might have Googled me.
Uh-oh.
I don't know what happened.
Uh-oh. Well, man, that happens to me all the time, man. Anytime someone falls off in my
just go
universe,
silent, yeah.
which is by the hundreds.
Yeah.
I just know they found Google.
Yeah. Oh, well.
Well, but okay, my thing is I like Maduros and I like the torpedo shape. And other than that, I don't care. So Maduro, torpedo shape, never had a bad cigar.
How cheap will you go on those? Can you give us a range?
As cheap as I'll go all the way down and all the way up. So I've had, I'll do the bargain basement cigar bin all the time with no label. If it's the right shape and it's a Maduro, because usually just to go through the extra step of the fermenting or whatever they do with the Maduro, that's already not going to be in the bargain. And that's not going to be on the bottom. It's very rare to find one of those on the bottom.
But the Maduro rolling leaf is grown differently, right? Is that a shade grown?
No, I always thought it was the fermenting that just made it dark and oily. I didn't realize it was a different leaf. It could be because I know nothing about cigars. I only know, I just know how the shape and taste goes. And I like the torpedo because then I can just cut it with any implement, just the tip off, and it's always a good cut. And there's plenty there to bite down on. I don't like the big, blunt roll trying to get that in my teeth. I like it to have a little taper to it. So the torpedo shape is preferred for me.
Have you ever seen the giant? My friend was he was a salesman for, what's the one in, I'm going to forget his name. Anyway, it doesn't matter. He was so he did the Dominican trip. And I never knew about how giant those piles of leaves the tobacco leaves, once they de-stem them and then they put them in those giant piles and then they ferment, on their own as they sit there in the sun. And so then they kind of, in the middle of them, they're like 150 degrees or whatever. And they kind of just dig those. So it'd be like putting just a big leaf pile in there. And then they all just kind of slightly rotted.
Generate heat.
Yeah. To me, I love things that are alive before I kill them and eat them. I mean, everything is, of course, but I mean, even my tobacco was alive and there were like bacteria in it. And then I just get to smoke them down and kill them. I love it.
It's got just like a yeast culture right in the middle there, just moving.
Exactly. Bread.
Moving molecules.
Oh, it's alive.
Bread.
It lives. It's its own thing. Great. Let me cook it and eat it. So I love that. Yeah.
Better. Fermented.
I just like really big. I'm a fan of the larger the better cigar. That sounds bad. Sounds
How long do those take you to those big ones? How long do they take you to
I don't know
smoke?
if I'm just a fast cigar smoker, but other guys will sit there and smoke, and it'll take like I'll smoke through like 2 or 3 cigars in the time they smoke one. So
yeah, I'm a slow smoker.
I don't know if I puff hard or what. I probably do. I'm a little intense.
I puff just enough to keep it lit.
Let me bring these 2 terms up to you guys and see how you react to them, because I hate them, and there's probably more. Please come up with your own. When you're smoking like a Churchill or something that's long and you're going to go low, the guy will go in a cigar shop or something like, that's an all day lollipop right there.
Yeah.
And it makes me want to just get up and punch the guy right in the dick.
So dumb.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a big mental shut up moment that you do not verbalize.
And then the other one is, what's your stick there? What are you smoking?
Yeah, stick.
Oh, God, shut up.
You know, like when people call him a stick.
Yeah, calling him a stick.
They also call him a turd. They call him a turd. That's another one. Look at that big old turd. I'm like, shut up.
I don't use stick as often, but I do like the word stogie. It's just a great word.
Yeah, stogie's more
Stogie's on
acceptable.
the muted end of it. That's pretty been accepted for a long time. It's when the guys try to come up with the new stuff. And there was a guy years ago who told me that he was starting to smoke cigars. And he was on a porch at this, overlooking a golf course, and he unwrapped a cigar and he started to smoke it. And a guy across the porch goes like, Sir, what are you smoking there? What kind of stick you got? He just said that the sir part of it bugged him so much. Like, what am I wearing? A monocle and like a top hat? Yeah. I'm just a dude.
Yeah, don't try and socialize with me just because I'm a fellow cigar smoker.
Sir.
I know that we're a complete male fraternity, but when you start with sir, call it out to everybody on the golf course.
Yeah. Oh, all right.
How about some
Well, it
shut
is
up?
like if they ask that and they can't, and there's a label on it. They aren't a cigar smoker if they ask that question. They can see the label, like because they should know by looking at it. And also, you definitely know a guy is not an actual cigar smoker. They walk by and go, "Hey, what you smoking? I take a hit off that." You ever get those guys? They want to take a hit off it.
Oh, I'd let a guy take a hit off my cigar. That's just being kind. That's just being social.
That's more cigarette weed culture. That's not cigar culture, because I get my end of my cigar all nice and wet and sloppy. It's
no one's ever.
You're making out with me if you smoke my cigar.
All right, here's my total pet peeve. Since we got onto it anyway, so we're going to wade in for this cigar smoking. The people who will take one, if you're offering cigars and they're kind of like, well, I'm not big into them.
Yeah.
And they'll smoke a quarter of your $20
$15 cigar.
Yep. And then, though, here's the ultimate insult is mashing it out into the ashtray so that it burns horribly for another 6.5 hours.
Yeah.
Like, just leave it there. It'll burn out in a second, but they mash it up and it smolders.
Yeah. Do not mash your cigar.
One. I'm not asking if you want to try it. This is an $18 cigar. Right. So you'll smoke it down to the end or shut up. It's like, no, I'll take it. And they always do like a couple puffs and then they put it down. Not for me. I'm like, you eat what's on your plate.
Yes.
Yeah,
but it's the mashing out that bugs me. It's like, all right, if you left
don't
it there,
mash it out.
I would actually wait. I would maybe smoke that later.
Oh, I'd smoke it. I've smoked other guys'
I'll cut
cigars.
off the end a little bit and just
just scissor off the end and smoke the rest of it. But the destroying it and turning it into a pile of leaves, who taught you that? I don't understand that.
Yeah, we should go over the things people don't. Maybe things people often get wrong. So one of that is don't mash your cigar out ever. Just let it sit there and go out. When you light it, don't puff it and light it. You'll get a really uneven burn. So hold it out and roast the end of it evenly.
Yeah,
usually takes about a minute. Got to roast it real evenly, get a nice even cherry, and then puff
I
it.
always puff. I break that rule all the time. I puff unevenly.
Doug's
my
kind of
stuff
white
canoes.
trash with his cigars, so
Yeah,
don't listen
my
to all
stuff
of it.
canoes on me all the time. It will smoke like the top half all the way down. I'm like,
Doug will
yay,
cut
it's
his
a canoe.
cigars in half and smoke. He'll do stuff like
I've done that too.
Yeah. So ignore Doug.
Will you?
Also lit with a match, lit with a Bic lighter, with a 99-cent Bic lighter.
Well,
or a
I'll
match.
do that. We've all done that.
Matches
you
are
kind of
fine.
have to do that.
Bic lighter, if you have to, you
They're
will.
all
But
like you light the wood.
Yeah. Oh,
and they have
come
the
on.
torch.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
shut up.
Yeah, shut up about that. But do you? Will you smoke one of your own cigars if you just let it go out, and then the next day you pick it up and it's in like kind of a dirty ashtray and you wipe it off? I'll smoke that.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I'll
Always.
try it if it's still good. Sometimes there's just funk to it.
Yeah.
I learned the blow the gas technique out from Ethan like 15 years ago.
Yeah,
Where when you
purging.
get down to the end, you blow that, you get that giant
It's about
flamethrower.
every quarter or so you can do it.
Yeah, you push that gas out, and then it's like a new cigar, man.
You
It's
know about that,
beautiful.
Mike?
Yeah.
The purge.
I didn't blow the gas out.
Yeah, so
explain that.
I don't understand. This is the way it's explained to me that as you continually suck in on the cigar,
Mike, it's the funnest thing. It's the funnest thing you'll ever do with
it
a cigar.
legitimately
It's fun.
changes the flavor.
Besides Bill Clinton thing.
Everybody I show it to, they're like, whoa, like it makes it taste cleaner. So about every like quarter or third of the cigar after you've tapped your ash, you kind of, as if you're doing like a hairspray flamethrower, but with your cigar, you blow over a flame. So you hold your flame up in front of your cigar and blow into the flame. And then if a flame will come out as if like a flamethrower.
You have to blow really hard to move the gas. You have to really,
not that
the
hard.
cheeks
You
will
blow too
inflate
hard,
like
your
Dizzy
cigar will
Gillespie.
pop. I've had that happen.
Well, don't do that. Yeah, I
not
know.
too hard.
All right. Wow.
Fire will kind of catch on that gas. It'll be basically shooting out fire, and then that fire will kind of dissipate, and then you won't be able to do it anymore. So obviously something was catching on fire that no longer does. So the explanation is that gas is built up in there. You puff after you did that, and the taste is like it definitely upgrades it. It's like a cleaner. It's delightful. So I highly recommend it to any cigar
It's
smokers.
fresh. It's easier to draw.
It's called the
easier
Purge,
to
yep.
draw.
This is new to me. That goes along the lines of this hilarious thing. So I, for a couple of years, would go help my friends who own a cigar store, and they would supply cigars to this distillation, like whiskey event that was huge in Minneapolis. So I went a couple times. They said, we'll get you a ticket so you can just go around and drink whiskey. And then you got to work the cigar tent for an hour or something. And, so I took that offer and, take an Uber down to this place and drink a bunch of whiskeys and sit with the distiller of, all these really great whiskeys. But I would go to the tent and, my friend would say like, okay, this one is this cigar here. It's rich. It's got sort of leathery hints. I'm like, whatever.
Oh, no.
And then
Notes of. No.
Yeah, so I'd take he's like, are you taking notes on this? Like, it's all in my brain. I got it. And the guys would come through the line and I would just completely forget everything and make up everything. Like, this one's more like do you like brandy? Like a sweet sort of, and they go, yeah, I like that. And then I would light it for them. I go, here, you want a V cut in that because that accentuates those hints, the notes of sort of a leathery, woody brandy.
Yeah.
And they'd take them and they'd take a couple puffs and they go, you're right. Oh my God, that's so good. And they would like lay a $10 tip down in front of me. And I go like, you have no idea that
I was snowing you the whole
absolute
time,
huckster who's half in the bag because I've been drinking whiskey all morning.
Yeah. You should have said this one's got a real, some Hello Kitty notes to it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's like,
A lot of Hello Sanrio. A lot of Hello Kitty
this
coming
young
out.
man here, like he looks younger. Like, do you like hints of chocolate milk? Like, oh, I'd like that. Well, you should try this one right here.
How about some
smoked them?
Patchouli
birthday
leather.
blast?
Yes. And it was 100% accurate. And they were like, man, you're a good salesman. You know cigars. Like, I'm half drunk and I'm just making everything up.
Yeah. It's the same thing with the wines when they're like notes of fruit, leather, and tobacco. I'm like, I don't taste shit. It tastes like
Orange
it just
peel.
tastes like good wine.
Yeah.
I'm dumb. I must be dumb.
Oh, you're correct. Everyone's correct on those issues.
True. All right, let's wrap.
Wrap it up. That was a good, solid episode, guys. We did it.
Oh, it's well done. What are you guys doing for the rest of the day?
Oh man, I gotta find a bunch of files on my computer that are just like strewn across 3 storage devices. I've been putting it off for 3 days. I don't even want to look.
Wow, fun.
I gotta find file. Hey, I jogged 3 miles today though. I'm proud.
That's good. You've already done that. Okay,
nice.
So maybe I'll do that later today.
Then I had a cigarette. Oh, that was even better.
Oh man, so nice. Ethan, you?
I built our crib again. So we thought it was over. We thought we had done the final teardown, but
they're trying to get the kid
trying to get him to sleep in the bed.
Out of the crib.
It's been a nightmare every night. It takes forever to get him to the bed. He wakes up super early, gets out of bed, and he jams his fingers into our eyes to wake us up. Like he twists his 2 fingers together. Like, you know, in like female self-defense classes, how they teach you to like scream, no, and then shove your fingers through the guy's eye socket into his brain and kill him. Yeah. That's how our son wakes us up, as if we are his rapist.
He broke you guys. He's your parent.
So finally, I put the crib back together. I put it in our room. So we're like full circle back to like when he just came home from the hospital. We have a crib in our room again. And we're at least going to use that because we could not going to take his naps. So, you know, he won't take naps because it's day that you can hear sounds. He just will not in that bed. But he was so good about bed before that, when in the crib. So we're going to try to do naps in the crib, bed at night, because he's like, you know, he's already a 2-year-old, so he's already horrible, but he's like horrible, double horrible, you know, because he has no nap. So
you got to go to one of those Halloween stores, get a big plastic skull and put it in there, and then put a dead rotten fish in there and just leave it. Say, okay.
What's the fish do?
Yeah, what does it say?
Stinks. It reeks. He's not going to sit in that bed. You got to give him some negative enforcement with this, because he thinks like that's his womb and his comfort spot. And you got to make it a horror to sit in that thing.
Bed. Okay, you make him not want the crib?
No, the crib. I mean, when you say the bed, I mean the crib.
Oh, that's not the issue. The issue is that he doesn't think of his bed as a place he needs to stay. Like he will just keep getting out.
Put a plastic skull in the crib and put a Game Boy and a pile of money and some candy in his bed.
Okay.
Dr. Spock, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
This is right.
Solved.
That's how.
All right. Let's end this thing.
Did it.
Okay.
All right.
This has been Audio Mullet.